there where Muddy played, and they heard me playing with Muddy, and guys started offering me gigs, and boy, that got my attention. I was thinking, you're going to pay me to play harmonica? All right. And that was my ticket out of the factory.
Planet Guitar is delighted today to talk with blues legend Charlie Musselwhite. Thank you so much for joining us today, Charlie.
Glad to be here. Lucky to be anywhere at all.
You've just released Lookout Highway. What's your feeling about making it different to previous albums?
Well, we had just finished playing in New York City and had gone back to California, and the pandemic was just setting in. And um, we went to Kid Anderson's studio called Greaseland and just started cutting tunes. Everything was shutting down, so suddenly we had a lot of time on our hands.
So you were saying it was a very different experience to previous albums because, of course, of the COVID situation.
The pandemic, everything was shut down, and so suddenly we had a lot of time on our hands. We went in the studio and just started cutting tunes. It's been a long time since I recorded with my band. We just been touring and touring and touring, and it was fun to just play without an audience, just us playing together in the studio.
I'd like to ask you about a particular track, Baby Won't You Please Help Me, which was from 1967's Stand Back, your first album. Was that a full circle moment for you? Why did you include that?
Oh, it wasn't my idea. The band said they liked the tune and why not do it? And so we just did it. That's all. It would no story to it at all, really.
Did you want to change it at all?
No, I just did it like I do it.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I don't think I don't remember doing that tune after the first time I recorded it in 1966.
Okay. Um, on your track Ghosts in Memphis, actually this week I've been listening to Furry Lewis, Will Shade, and Gus Cannon, and I'm wondering, you say it's hard to say who I miss most. I'm not crazy, my friends are ghosts. Were you thinking of those kinds of people when you wrote that?
Absolutely. They were, you know, I go down to Beale Street now, and it's just not the Beale Street it was when I was running up and down the street, and it was a neighborhood back then. People lived there. Now it's just a big tourist attraction, and you're lucky to hear any blues at all. Uh, so it's all gone and it's all changed, and all the people I knew were gone. And so when I when I'm in Memphis, think of all the and remember the times I had and the people I knew. They're all gone. So it's just ghosts now.
Apart from those three names, would you mention any others that you think of?
Oh yeah, Willie B, Willie Borum,
Yeah,
and Abe McNeil. Uh,
quite a few.
yeah,
You collaborate with Egner Luckett on Ready for Times to Get Better. I thought you combined perfectly together on that song.
yeah, she's really just a lovely lady, and boy, can she sing. And she's right here in Clarksdale.
That's right. Do you feel like Clarksdale and its history is living a kind of golden moment at this time again?
Well, I remember when I was a kid, I had three uncles that lived here, and we would visit, and it was just a booming country town. I mean, on a Saturday, you could hardly walk down the street. And over the years, I saw it become almost a ghost town. And now it's coming back. People are moving back. Businesses are opening. Clubs are opening. Restaurants are opening. And people are moving here from all over the place. For some reason, a lot of Australians have moved here. I don't know why, but people, when they come here, they say it feels like coming home. And then they stick around.
And then, of course, it's also boosting interest in blues. This
Oh, yeah, you can hear blues here, live blues every night of the year. You'll hear more blues here than you will in Memphis.
Of course, you sing and play harmonica on the album, but I'm just wondering how much of the guitar on it is you.
I remember I did some guitar. I don't remember now on which tune or if I left it on or. Yeah. See, we did a lot of the first tracks we did were in California. Then here in Clarksdale, I re-recorded all the vocals and all the harmonica.
Can you remember which guitars you use? Maybe your Gibson or Harmony Acoustic or Silvertone Electric or...
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, I've got another question for you about guitars. This is going back to your childhood. I believe that your father gave you a Supertone acoustic guitar. Is that right?
Yeah, I think I was 13 when he gave it to me.
I believe you used to disappear into the woods near your house and play guitar and harmonica and play blues. It sounds like an idyllic moment.
Well, I would go out in the woods with my harmonica. I didn't take the guitar out in the woods because I could play the guitar quietly in my room, but I thought I didn't want anybody to hear me. I just wanted to be alone and just you know finding out how the harmonica worked. Uh, and just making up my own blues at first. And it's interesting how without any kind of instruction, I started playing in what they call second position. I didn't even know there was such a thing as positions. I thought, like, if you had a C harmonica, I thought anything he played on it was in the key of C. But I was playing in the key of G and didn't know it.
Can you remember what happened to that guitar?
That guitar,
Yeah, what happened to it?
it started falling apart. uh, I guess the humidity got to it or something, but little pieces of the fingerboard, the fretboard were falling out and the back was coming off.
It disappeared.
I think I ended up giving it to Will Shade,
Oh, right. That's interesting.
and I think he sold it.
You were born in Mississippi, but moved to Memphis when you were very young, just as rock and roll was starting to really kick off. Can you remember how old you were when you met Elvis Presley for the first time?
Oh, probably 17 or 18. Must have been, I must have been about, well, either 16 or 17 because I just got my driver's license and I bought a 1950 Lincoln for $99. And I would drive. I had his phone number. I could call him up and find out where the party was going to be. These private parties he had. It might be at the fairgrounds or a theater or the skating rink or something. And I would drive over there. And mostly I was going because there's a lot of pretty girls there.
Did you hit it off with Elvis?
We didn't just speak. I never really had a conversation with him. He'd say, hey, I'd say hi. And I didn't think about playing harmonica for him or something or trying to impress him.
Uh-huh.
To me, he was just uh, another kid from Mississippi. We all dressed alike and combed our hair the same way.
I've read that you had some very unusual jobs at that time. Do you remember which was the worst job you ever had?
Oh, probably laying concrete floors for cotton warehouses over in Arkansas for $1 an hour. That was brutal work, really hot and humid, and uh, you know, a lot of real heavy work, pushing wheelbarrows full of sand and rock up a ramp to mix it to make cement.
Uh-huh.
That was rough.
I've read that you were running moonshine as well around that time. Do you have a happy memory of that moment?
Well, it wasn't anything like in the movies because nobody paid any attention to me. I would drive out to a house where these guys were. I'd give somebody the keys to my car. They would go off. They'd come back, and my trunk would be loaded with these cans of moonshine, 5-gallon cans. And then I would drive off. They'd send me off to some place where I would give somebody the keys to my car. They'd drive off and come back, and my trunk would be empty. And they'd give me $50, and I'd go home.
Oh, well, it's not bad.
But there was never any big chase scenes or anything like that. But one time the police were following me. I don't know why they were following me, but uh, that's when I decided it was time to go to Chicago.
Was that a difficult decision for you to move to Chicago at 18?
No, it was, I was young, no responsibilities, and I had a sense of adventure. I was ready for a good time and adventure, and going up to this big city way up north with all these factory jobs was appealing because they paid way better. They had benefits, and the South was real economically depressed, and that's why like thousands of other people were all getting out of the South and heading north.
I understand that you were just in some ways hanging around in bars, obviously listening to the scene, the music scene at that time. And I believe that there was a waitress who told Muddy Waters that you played fantastic harmonica, and that was the reason that Muddy asked you to play.
Yeah, she said you ought to hear Charlie play. Up to until that moment, I had never asked to sit in. I didn't tell anybody I played harmonica. I was happy just to hang out listening. And coming from Memphis, I already knew how to drink, so I fit right in. And guys like Muddy and Wolf and them, they all thought I was just a fan because I'd request tunes. But when this waitress told Muddy I played harmonica, that changed everything. And he insisted I sit in, and a lot of musicians hung out there where Muddy played, and they heard me playing with Muddy, and guys started offering me gigs, and boy, that got my attention. I was thinking, you're going to pay me to play harmonica? All right. And that was my ticket out of the factory.
But would you have ever said anything to anybody, or would you have carried on sitting there if this waitress hadn't mentioned this to Muddy?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I had been doing a little playing with Big Joe Williams, but that was just little jobs with him. Wasn't anything like having a band or nothing. And Joe and I would just sit around and play. Well, we were both rooming together, so we spent a lot of time together. And later, I got to record with Joe, and that was a big thrill for me. My old buddy, Big Joe Williams.
It sounds like you owe that waitress a big thank you.
Well, she was a sweet girl, I'll tell you that.
So you were with guys like Sonny Boy Williamson, Buddy Guy, Howling Wolf, Little Walter. I mean, what an incredible moment. Did you realize how special it was at the time?
Yeah, I knew it was, but at that age, I don't think I was capable of seeing the big picture. I mean, I was just having a good time, and I knew I was aware that these guys made records and were great blues musicians, and I was really knocked out that I got to be their friends, and they were encouraging to me, and they pushed me to play. And but today from this perspective, looking back, it's a lot bigger than I realized at the time.
Sure. Of course, there were other contemporaries that were helping make the Chicago blues scene popular at the time. I'm thinking of Paul Butterfield and Mike Bloomfield and your friend Elvin Bishop. How important were these artists in growing the blues among a white audience?
Well, I think it was important. Uh, See, I remember when I'd be working in the factories, Monday morning, people would talk about what they did over the weekend. And I'd mention Muddy Waters or something. And these black guys that were my age that I worked with, they'd say, Muddy Waters, what's wrong with you? And I'd say, I like Muddy Waters and I like Howlin' Wolf. They say, man, you're crazy. That's the old folks' music. And I say, well, I like it. It sounds good to me. And they say, you got to get up with the times, man. That stuff's over with. And so I just love the blues, and I thought it was funny that they had no interest in it and thought that I was crazy for hanging out in these clubs and going to hear blues.
When you released Stand Back and it had such success, you moved to San Francisco at that time. Um, I'm just wondering, of course, you were incredibly fortunate to be born in Mississippi and then going to Memphis and then Chicago, and then you're choosing to go to San Francisco just as it was really getting big. And it sounds like you have a superpower with your intuition. Is that right?
Well, I don't know. I've just been lucky, I guess.
Ah, you say that, but then you persuaded John Lee Hooker, you persuaded John to move there to San Francisco. Was that difficult to do?
Well, I don't know that I persuaded him. I did. I remember calling him from California when he still lived in Detroit and saying, John, I think you're really going to like it out here on the West Coast because the clubs were bigger. They had, were ballrooms like the Fillmore Ballroom, and they just paid way more than the little blues clubs back in the Midwest because they could hold more people. And it was just a whole scene on the West Coast. It was all up and down California, Oregon, state of Washington. Uh, it was really happening, and the underground radio was a big part of that. The disc jockeys on the radio back then, they would just bring records from home and play whatever they wanted to play. And they weren't given playlists like they are today. And so that's how I got on the radio because these guys liked my record and they liked blues and they were playing me and Grateful Dead and everything else. So you could Ravi Shankar. I mean, you could hear anything on the radio back then.
Since that time, you've obviously released a lot of solo albums, but you've also collaborated with artists like Bonnie Raitt, Blind Boys of Alabama, In Excess, Cyndi Lauper. What is the most important to you when you decide how to choose who to collaborate with? What is the most important factor for you?
Well, I don't choose them; they choose me. I mean, they asked me to work with them, and I like the money they want to pay. Plus, it's interesting for me to see how I can fit myself into a situation that's not normally what I do, like playing with Ben Harper or Cyndi Lauper. Um, Cindy loves blues. In fact, I think today might be her birthday. But anyhow, um, she loved blues, and we would blues up her hits. Like girls just want to have fun. I had a harmonica solo in that song, and I remember playing it with her out in the middle of Times Square one morning for live TV. It was just a lot of fun for me to be in a scene like that, which was so different from what I'm used to, and seeing how I can fit blues into other styles of music.
On Tom Waits' Mule Variations, you play on Chocolate Jesus, and one of your most loved songs is Cristo Redemptor. Is Christianity a key part of your life?
Christianity?
Yeah.
Uh, Not really. No, I mean I think of myself as spiritual on some kind of level, but I'm not really religious. I don't go to church. I don't. When I was a kid, I went to church and read the Bible, but I had enough of that stuff. uh,
When
but I
sorry,
try
go
to, Buddhism makes sense to me, but that's more of a philosophy than a religion.
on. With Ben Harper, you won a Grammy for Best Blues Album, and your song that you co-wrote, "No Mercy in This Land," was Song of the Year. Are accolades important to you at this time of your life?
Well, I appreciate that, you know, somebody likes what I do. I mean, it's nice to get a pat on the back sometimes. Sure.
And Charlie, I believe you're writing an autobiography. Is that correct?
Jim O'Neill, who began the Living Blues magazine, he and I are working on it.
May I ask how far away that is from completion, do you think?
Oh, maybe another year.
Is it an important project for you? Has it been to relive all those moments?
Well, it's nice to be able to put down all these stories, and I hope it'll be a lot of photos in it too, and share it with people. Uh, I think it's nice to share the story.
Great. I know your fans will be really looking forward to that. You're currently touring in the US. Have you got any plans to come to Europe?
So far, no. I love to come. I'm available, but nothing's come up to. Uh, haven't gotten any gigs there yet.
Well, Charlie, it's been lovely to talk to you. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with your album and your tour.
Well, thank you. It's been nice talking to you.
Thanks a lot. You take care.
Thank you very much. Take care.